और 30,000 तक बचाओ। इसलिए तू ज़ेब्रा तो नहीं है, तू है गधा। Kind of.
Budget 2026 is here. Decoding India's defense budget. The defense spending evolution. Rupees 6.81 lakh crores in 2025-26. India's defense budget breakdown.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Newsx Explained and our special segment on budget. Today we are discussing how much India spends on its defense. India's defense budget includes allocation for the three defense services, the Army, Navy and Air Force. It also includes allocation for the ordnance factories, research and development and capital outlay. Additionally, there are civil defense expenditures such as pensions. Unofficial expenditure includes expenses for 4 of the 6 central armed police forces responsible for border security. India's defense budget for 25-26 has been pegged at 6.8 lakh crores, marking a 9.5% increase over the previous year. This allocation accounts for around 1.9% of India's projected gross domestic product and about 13.4% of the total union budget, underlining defense as one of the government's top spending priorities. To put this figure in perspective, let's look at how India's defense spending has evolved over the last 5 financial years. In 2021, India allocated 4.7 lakh crore to defense. This amounted to nearly 13.8% of the total union budget and represented an increase of about 9% over the previous year, at a time when security concerns were rising on multiple fronts. In 21-22, the defense allocation stood at 4.78 lakh crores. This was a modest 1% increase and accounted for around 13.2% of the total budget, indicating a temporary slowdown in growth. A sharper rise followed in 22-23 when defense spending climbed to 5.25 lakh crores. This nearly 10% year-on-year increase translated to about
कार इंश्योरेंस डन।
पॉलिसी बाजार से कराया?
नहीं।
तो तू ज़ेब्रा नहीं हो सकता।
मतलब?
अगर पॉलिसी बाजार से कार इंश्योरेंस कंपेयर करके लेता तो 12,000 रुपए तक बचा सकता था। इसलिए तू ज़ेब्रा तो नहीं है, तू है गधा। Kind of.
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर। MDH गरम मसाला, असली मसालों से भरा हूँ मैं,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
MDH का किचन किंग किचन में हो तो हम सब कुछ बना सकते हैं। बैंगन का भरता, आलू गोभी, भिंडी मसाला और भी बहुत कुछ।
MDH। इसको तो फुटबॉल खेलना भी आ गया
और इसे तो पियानो बजाने भी आ गया।
चंद्रयान भी उतर गया चांद पर हमें
अब तक टेस्टी राजमा बनाना नहीं आया।
बिना MDH राजमा मसाला के टेस्टी राजमा कैसे बनेगा?
स्वादिष्ट राजमा के लिए MDH राजमा मसाला।
क्या स्वादिष्ट राजमा बनाए?
MDH।
कार इंश्योरेंस डन।
पॉलिसी बाजार से कराया?
नहीं।
तो तू ज़ेब्रा नहीं हो सकता। कार नई हो या पुरानी, पॉलिसी बाजार पे कंपेयर करके खरीदो और 30,000 तक बचाओ। इसलिए तू ज़ेब्रा तो नहीं है, तू है गधा। Kind of.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Newsx and I'm Vaishali Kohli. Now, about 300 dog carcasses were found dumped in a pit in Jagtial district in the latest case of alleged mass killing of strays in Telangana, taking the total number of stray dogs found dead in the state this month to nearly 900. According to the first information report in the latest case, the incident occurred on January 22, 2026 at around 3:30 p.m. and was reported to the police on January 23, 2026 at 6:55 p.m. Meanwhile, based on the complaint, the police have registered a case against Pegadapalli village Sarpanch and the Gram Panchayat secretary, along with other people under relevant sections of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, including section 325, read with 3/5 and section 11/1A of the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act. The question now arises is that how long will it really take for justice or for action to be taken to stop such incidents? I want to introduce all my guests joining me on the broadcast. I have Ambika Shukla, she's an animal welfarist. I have Sanjay Sahai, former IPS officer. Advocate Manasvi Thapar, he's a political analyst. And I have Gautam Mukherjee, senior journalist, joining me. I want to go across to Ambika Shukla, who's an animal welfarist. Ambika, I want to begin by, of course, asking you, for your opening comments, how do you feel about this brutal and shocking incident?
I don't think there's any other word for it to say except shocked, disgusted, and shamed. Shamed that because we belong to a country that produced Mahatma Gandhi. We belong to a country that preaches ahimsa. I'm standing outside Telangana Bhavan, where there is a protest going on, calling attention to the chief minister of what is happening in his state. 1,000 dogs in 1 week. This is shameful. And I believe it is the direct result of the case going on in the Supreme Court, where there have been orders calling for removal. Now, when the Supreme Court mentions the word removal of animals, a lot of people take shortcuts like this, and we've seen the result in the escalation of cruelty around the country, culminating in this dastardly action in Telangana, where 1,000 dogs have been murdered and more continue to die every day. And we need to see some strong action. If the Supreme Court was moved to a suo motu case in the case of one life, here there are 1,000 lives. I would like to see the Supreme Court show the same compassion, show the same alacrity in taking action against this kind of cruelty. We must not allow this to happen. We cannot just stand by and countenance things. This is not normal, and this should never be allowed to pass without some very, very strict, stern, and immediate action.
You know, Ambika, what makes it more shameful is the fact that this was done because to fulfill certain promises that these representatives and these Gram Panchayat people made to the public around. What do you have to say for that?
This is because this is being legitimized. These demands are being legitimized. Dogs are not a new population. We've always lived with dogs. It's not like there have never been dogs before, there have never been bites before, there have been. But we have never overreacted, we have never over-sensationalized, we have dealt with them, we have got to the reason. A dog only bites out of fear. If you show kindness, dogs don't bite. We have always preached kindness, and India has always practiced kindness. Over the last couple of years, with our population booming, and people talk about animal populations booming, that's wrong. The only population that has multiplied is the human population. We have now overtaken China to become the most populous country in the world. It is our population that has increased. Space has shrunk as a result of that. And our intolerance has grown as a result of that. And we need to fix responsibility where it belongs. Municipalities have been tasked with sterilization programs for dogs. Even those have not been addressed seriously. For 5 years, the center has given zero funds for the ABC program. They've simply left it to the resources of municipalities. Some do it, some have not. In Telangana, for example, there has been no municipal areas except for Hyderabad, where they have started ABC centers. We sent a fact-feeding team down to these villages where these murders have occurred. And that team has reported that the sarpanches and the villagers were given the option of sterilization, would have happily taken sterilization, except that it was never offered. In fact, Telangana is the one state that in its affidavit to the Supreme Court has actually asked for killing of dogs, even though they claim that 80% of their dogs are sterilized, which is completely false. They are saying now they want them killed. So you have wasted the money, what you claim, for 80% sterilization, and now you want to see that go down the drain by killing those same sterilized friendly dogs. It doesn't make sense, because nobody in this whole issue is talking sense. We do not have a census of dogs. We do not have the numbers. We have ordered dogs to be taken to shelters that do not exist. This is like being in Alice in Wonderland, you know, with nothing making sense at all. People talking just at random pulling figures out of the air, saying anything they please because they know that dogs cannot speak back. Dogs cannot tell you the truth. Dogs cannot tell you what happened. And so we take advantage of their helplessness, the fact that they have no voice, no choice. We show them no empathy, we show them no logic. When 2 athletes in Indore were molested in broad daylight, did we round up all the young men of Indore and say put them in jail? Did we forbid them food? Did we say that they will live forever, and not just those 2, but the entire species, the entire male species? Here we have done that to dogs. We've said pick up all the dogs in institutional areas. Did we do that when the same things happen among humans? When we rape, when we kill, when we murder, when we thieve, is there an intemperate order given that all humans are to be punished for one person's mistake or action? It seems that, there is no logic applied when it comes to animals, and that is what is so worrying in a country like India, where 70% of India depends on animals. We use animals for transport, we use them for food, we use them for clothes, we use them for fertilizer, we use them in farming, we use them in our police, we use them in our forces for security. When there was a bomb explosion in Delhi, the first people to reach there was the bomb squad. Who secured the area was your dog sniffers. So we use dogs when it suits us, and we abuse them when it suits us. Is this justice? Is this fair? Is this logical? Is it empathy? Is it compassion? Is it the land of Mahatma Gandhi?
Ambika, now just for the benefit of our viewers, I want to ask you, what exactly are the animal protection laws in this country? And the second part to my question is, do you think that these laws have enough teeth, or is enforcement the real problem?
Is that to me? Is that question to me?
Yes, Ambika, absolutely.
Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah. The laws are, at the present, we have the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act 1960. Now, this is the date 1960 is extremely important. At a time when India was grappling with huge issues, we had just got our independence. Our forefathers, our constitutional founders, were considered animal cruelty important enough to make such a huge and important law. And they put the punishment as rupees 50. In those years, 50 rupees for cruelty to animals, which includes pulling a dog's tail, overloading a horse, keeping an animal tied up, overburdening any animal. All of these crimes were considered important enough to charge them what would be the equivalent of rupees 50,000 today for any of these crimes. That is the importance that our forefathers assigned to animal cruelty, because they realized that a society that does not protect its weakest, its animals, that animal cannot protect anybody. And we need to understand that, because the people who commit cruelty to animals are the very same people who go on to commit crimes against humans. This is what is important about punishing animal cruelty and deterring it. In the many years since independence, since 1960, we are now in 2025, which means 65 years later, the fine for cruelty to animals still remains rupees 50, which it was in 1960. Is this fair? Is this even sensible? I mean, have our lawmakers actually thought through this problem? The Supreme Court, that is grappling with the issue of community dogs and calling for their removal from certain places, have they even looked at the basis of the problem, the cruelty that is done to animals that causes them to react? If we do not want bites, let us get rid of cruelty. That is where it stems from. You show a dog a stick, you kick a dog, you stone a dog, you pick up your hand, you swing a bag, you run screaming, you do all of those things, and you expect animals not to react at all? I mean, you have to look at the basis of the problem. It is not enough for you to simply pass an order saying, off with their heads and get rid of them. This is not Alice in Wonderland we're talking about, but at the moment, the way we are dealing with it seems to be like we're in Alice in Wonderland. No figures are being taken, no sensible solutions are being considered, no animal people are being asked for any kind of suggestions. When you're dealing with a specialized field, you need to consult specialists. If you're dealing with medicine, you will go to a doctor. If you're dealing with animals, you need to come to the animal welfare organizations, the animal welfare people who understand animals, who work with animals, who have constructive suggestions to give you. And what are we saying? We are saying that the municipality has failed at the ABC program, the Animal Birth Control Program. Do not assign it to municipalities because they treat it like a punishment posting. They assign their worst staff there. There is no accountability. Nobody takes any hisab of how many dogs have gone for sterilization, how many dogs have died on the operation table, how many dogs have been released back to their regular places. All of this needs to be taken care of. These animals are not aloo sabzi. They are living beings. They have the same feelings as us. They feel the same fear, the same love, the same jealousy, the same happiness, the same every feeling that we hunger. We are stopping their feeding from place to place. Every place is a struggle. Don't feed here, don't feed there, don't feed here, don't feed the birds, don't feed the monkeys, don't feed the dogs. Why? Only feed human beings. Is all the resources of the whole planet only supposed to be for the benefit of human beings? Do animals who contribute so much to our lives, so much to our economy, should they get nothing in return? Not even the right to live? Here, 1,000 dogs have been killed in 1 week in Telangana. This is shocking. And I'd like to see that this case is fast-tracked. I would like to see that the sarpanches involved in this never stand for election again. They should be disqualified for life. If they have made promises to this effect, they should be disqualified for life.
All right, Ambika, thank you for joining me on the broadcast. And now I want to go across to Sanjay Sahai, who's a former IPS officer. Mr. Sahai, now the question really is that if this kind of a case really happens, of course these people will be booked and all of that. How do you see this situation moving forward? What are the kind of sections that apply on them? Because we're talking about animal cruelty here.
If it comes to the investigation of these cases, the two sections which has already been invoked, so section 325 of BNS, 3.5, subsection 3 and clause 5. So that is regarding maiming and all other cruelty being done to animals. And there is also that section 3.5. So it also talks about the conspiracy with this sarpanches are involved. So that's point number one. Point number two is the relevant section of Cruelty to Animals Act 1860, which Ambika has been talking about. So under the first section of BNS 325 and the relevant subclause, I think the maximum punishment goes to 5 years. So as far as the case is concerned, case will be investigated, and I think in the first place, before Jagtial, Annam Konda, I think some unknown toxins have been found in the post-mortem results, the viscera test results. As far as the current case is concerned, some 70-80 dogs have been exhumed and viscera has been sent for forensic analysis. So as the analysis comes, I think broadly this case can be investigated further and charge sheet can be filed against these people. There are also professional dog killers who were hired, and there are enough and sufficient eyewitnesses who will be talking about this. So circumstantial evidence is there. There are the dog killers who are there. Sarpanches have been talking about it during their election hearing. I don't know how and why any of the political parties or even the activists, they did not hear what these likely potential members of the Gram Panchayat are talking about in the electioneering. So there has been a huge amount of electioneering going on where they have been talking about dog bites and they've been talking about anti-rabies and dogs chasing people leading to accidents and skin burns and variety of things. So these are the issues which the panchayats have been grappling with. The solution which they have taken is certainly something which is unheard of and something which is most dastardly. Suffice to say, as Ambika was also talking about it, is the question of understanding of different stakeholders. So we have literally, we see activism from every side. So what the activists are doing is one part of the story. The second part of the story is that the sarpanches and local self-government have absolutely no idea, no interest, and they're of a different kind, who generally feel that spending time for animals and finding a way out does not make any sense. As far as the lawmakers are concerned, however much we talk great about the lawmakers, none of the lawmakers are interested in the laws which make, and primarily in India, whether it is the parliament or the state legislature, whatever the government wants. So that law is pushed without the knowledge of the lawmakers who finally say yes or no at the time of the passage of the bill. So taking it to lawmakers that they have done something great about it, I don't find any great fancy in that. At the current juncture, inclusive of the judiciary and institutional area clearing and the ABC campaign, see, first and foremost, the clarity of purpose is not there. Number two, all the stakeholders, however much the activists tried, all the stakeholders have to come to the
All right, Sanjay, Mr. Sai, I'll come back to you. Now, I want to go across to Advocate Manasvi Thapar. He's a political analyst. Mr. Thapar, I just want to begin by asking you first, how do you feel about this entire incident?
So, in the current scenario, it's a very, very complex scenario with judicial directive.
All right. Mr. Sahai, we'll come back to you because we lost your voice in the middle. All right, we'll come back to Manasvi as well. I want to go across now to Gautam Mukherjee now. Now, Gautam, you know, this is a massacre. This is brutal, what's happened. But what I want to ask you is that, you know, some of the attacks are unprovoked. A lot of children, you know, I was seeing visuals that, you know, we had on our official group 2 days ago of this child's cheeks literally ripped off with this dog attack. So this is a very, very dicey situation. We're still not able to find a solution really. What do you see as the middle path where animal life is protected and so is human life?
Well, stray dogs in most states are no threat to anybody. You may have the odd dog which is not well, which may either be rabid or is in some other difficulty and is prone to attacking. But otherwise, stray dogs have to survive in the open, and they know enough about their situation to get along with all the people in the area. So this kind of savagery in one state makes no sense. Why this was done, whatever be the causes. Now you talk of videos showing an attack on children. Well, they've been circulating for some time. Are we using the same video over and over again to justify various things? This kind of slaughter of 1,000 dogs in Telangana is completely unacceptable. There is no reason to get after the stray dogs as such. There are some who are not well, some who may be prone to biting, and they can be tackled. But this takes a little bit of wisdom and will. Now, if you're not going to do that and use a broad brush technique, this is like the Nazis. You're slaughtering people without any kind of discrimination. Telangana, the government must answer for this, not just the people who are, instructed to kill the animals. These are dog killers. They have used a very deliberate method. They have poisoned all these dogs with lethal injections, according to reports. And so they should be severely punished. As Mr. Sahai pointed out, there are various laws under which they can be punished, and they must be punished. This is not acceptable behavior in a country like ours.
All right. I want to go across now to Advocate Manasvi Thapar. He's also a political analyst. Manasvi, because you're also an advocate, I really want to understand that as per you, are these animal right laws that we have in India stringent enough, or do they need, a little bit of tweaking?
So one thing which we need to understand is the law is not a problem. The implementation is at the grassroots level, at the municipal level, and further, India is a constitutional state. It's not a mob state. It is yes, stray dogs are a problem in a country like India, and we have to manage it. But in no way killing or culling of these stray dogs can be tolerated. It is unscientific. It is not ethical. It is not something which our scriptures also, our Hindu Dharma also teaches us to do that. Yes, they are a problem, and there are many countries like Netherlands, Japan and Germany who have done out with this menace. They have nationwide sterilization program, vaccination missions are there carried out, and they have fixed up municipality accountability across countries. And now this is something in a 21st century India, which is the largest population of the world, and we are so strong in tech, we are so strong in so many things, and we are coming up with this news wherein thousand dogs have been killed in such a fashion. Yes, there will be problems of bites, there will be problems facing by the villagers of rabies, and multiple issues where mothers are scared of sending their kids to schools. These are daily problems. But what is the administration doing there? Administration has completely failed. They have not been accountable on managing issues, and and the further part is there has been allocation of funds for sterilization program, vaccination programs, and where is this funds going? The further question which comes to my mind would be that there is massive corruption in this sector also, which is unaccounted, which is unaudited, and there is nothing. There is some hue and cry which happens over a news, and then this shuts down. I think this is the right opportune time for all of us to stand together to create proper laws, and most importantly, create proper implementation. There has to be checks and balances. You cannot allow in a country like India, which is so strong, which has ahimsa as its core dharma, and then we kill animals in this fashion. This is not something which will go good for our country. We have to have checks and balances, and we have to book people who are accountable for such kind of a menace which they have created. As a country, we need to stand strong, and there are lives which we have killed, and we cannot stand strong by killing dogs of thousand number of dogs in one go. This is shameful as a nation, and we need to rise. We need to stand strong. We need to show empathy towards the stray dogs, and this is not something which can be tolerated. Yes, there are dog lovers, and there are people who are scared of dogs, and there has to be a middle way out of it. Proper vaccination, proper sterilization. There has to be a nationwide program for this. This is a menace which needs to be recognized, likes of the polio, likes of the malaria, and this has to be treated properly. There has to be proper accountability with proper technology at place, and which India is a first world technology country. And are we believing that fact that this is the new norm? No, this is not the new norm. This needs to be changed immediately.
All right. Yes, we have, of course, been discussing the kind of changes, but we're all waiting for those changes to really happen. Mr. Sanjay Sahai, we've got 5 minutes on this debate. Any solutions that can come out of this problem, what would you like to say?
Something very different from what we have been discussing so far. There's a concept. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Something very different from whatever we have been discussing so far. The crux of the problem is we talk about something called a management bus. And in the management bus, only those people who can actually do the management, they should be there. If you talk to the 7 sarpanches, I think all our heads will go topsy-turvy for their complete lack of understanding of any of those issues. And their understanding of their politics and coming to power, handling that power and getting away with all what they do is the crux of the problem. We can only engage with people who are on the same plane. So currently the situation is that we have lawyers, we have judicial activism, we have animal activists, we also have these Gram Panchayat fellows who actually run the show, and local self-government in variety of other areas, also in urban centers. My limited understanding is, after serving in the government for more than 3 decades, that all these stakeholders first, they need to come together. The resources have to be put into use on a very clear-cut strategy, And there has to be infra. There has to be infra which has to be put in place. You cannot go and pick up two dog killers and hire them for the purposes which they were hired in this particular thing. We don't even have a census of dogs. So if you start from ground above, I think there are lots of issues which have been not dealt, and we are trying to sort it out in a very, very ad hoc, unstructured, and might be at times in very philosophical, theoretical and abstract manner. Whereas the ground realities remain totally different, and any dog bite is generally supposed to be declare a war against the dogs. Getting into the granular detail and handling the situation depending on the complexities of the issue in different groups, different areas and in different method, I think that is totally unheard of. ABC somewhere has funds. I presume there are lots of places there are no funds. And as somebody was talking about the lawyer on the panel, the swindling part is another story. So if we don't understand the problem, we don't have a blueprint of it, there is no data, we are not ready to enforce the law to the granular detail, and there is no redressal and infra mechanism to take care of this problem which has been with us since times immemorial. What more can be said? We have to start somewhere. And we will book a case, and these people will go behind bars, and we will meet again for the same purpose. Supreme Court will pick up on some fine day, talk about the institutional clearance. So this is where we are stuck up. We need to bring professional people. If these politicians are not professional people who create a blueprint, who create a plan, resources have to be put in, and this has to be taken through.
Right. You know, Manasvi had made a really good point, and Manasvi, the fact that, like you said, some people are scared of dogs, some people are scared. Of course, nobody wants to be bitten, but nobody wants cruelty towards animals as well. We must have a middle path, and soon, viewers. And with that, I'd like to thank all my guests for joining me on the debate. And now moving on, now Managing Director of Adani Ports and Special Economic Zone Limited, Karan Adani, has given a statement stating that the Adani ports are not merely expanding a port, they are expanding a national capability. He further added, and I quote, with an additional investment of 16,000 crores under phase 2 and a cumulative commitment of 30,000 crores. Vizhinjam will scale from a capacity of 1 million to 5.7 million TEUs by 2029. This is the largest investment committed by any business house in the state of Kerala. The statement comes after the inauguration of the second phase of the Vizhinjam International Seaport. Let's in fact listen in.
Honorable Chief Minister of Kerala, Shri Pinarayi Vijayanji, Honorable Union Minister for Ports, Shipping and Waterways, Shri Sonowalji, respected ministers, Honorable Opposition Leader of Kerala, Shri V.D. Satishanji, Members of Parliament, senior officials from Government of India and Government of Kerala, distinguished dignitaries, partners and friends. Today is a landmark day not only for Vizhinjam, but for Kerala's long-term economic future and for India's maritime strategy. Vizhinjam stands today at the intersection of history and the future. For centuries, Kerala's coastline connected India to global trade, cultures, and ideas. Through Vizhinjam, that historic role is being renewed this time with world-class infrastructure, global scale, and national purpose. Before we speak about the future, it is important to recognize the continuity of the vision that has made Vizhinjam possible. Projects of this national importance do not belong to one government or one moment in time. Vizhinjam is the result of sustained political will across administration and across party lines. It is only right to acknowledge the foundational role played by the late Shri Oman Chandiji, under whose leadership this project was awarded and given its initial momentum. His belief in Vizhinjam as a transformative opportunity for Kerala laid the groundwork for what we see taking shape today. This continuity of the vision has been carried forward with exceptional resolve under the leadership of the Honorable Chief Minister. Large transformational infrastructure projects succeed not only because of engineering excellence, but because of political clarity, administrative discipline, and long-term commitment. The Chief Minister's consistent support for Vizhinjam through complexity, scale, and challenge has been the central to transforming a long-standing aspiration into a nationally and globally significant maritime asset. I must admit that we would not have been possible to complete this project if not for the continuous support by the Honorable Chief Minister. He has been our biggest asset that an investor can ask for when implementing such large greenfield project. Thank you, sir, from bottom of my heart. I would also like to acknowledge the continuous support extended by the Leader of Opposition, Shri V.D. Satishan ji, and Honorable MP, Shri Shashi Tharoor ji, for this project. Such bipartisan cooperation sends a powerful signal to investors, to industry, and to the world that when it comes to Kerala's long-term interest, political differences give way to shared purpose. This project is also a strong example of cooperative federalism in action. I am honored by the presence of the Honorable Union Minister for Ports, Shipping and Waterways, Shri Sonowal ji, whose leadership reflects India's renewed maritime ambition. Under the visionary leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister, port-led development has become a strategic pillar of India's economic growth. In a remarkably short period, Vizhinjam has demonstrated what is possible when vision, execution, and partnerships come together. In just 15 months of commercial operation, it became the fastest Indian port to handle 1 million TEUs, firmly placing Kerala on the global shipping map. Today, as we lay the foundation for Phase 2, we are not merely expanding a port, we are expanding a national capability. With an additional investment of 16,000 crores under Phase 2 and a cumulative commitment of 30,000 crores, Vizhinjam will scale from a capacity of 1 million TEU to 5.7 million TEUs by 2029. This is the largest investment committed by any business house in the state of Kerala. Vizhinjam will emerge as the largest transshipment port in the Indian subcontinent and a globally competitive maritime hub. Apart from being the largest transshipment port, Vizhinjam will also be most technologically advanced port in India. It will be the lighthouse of how future Indian ports should operate. In closing, I want to thank the Government of Kerala, Honorable Chief Minister Shri Pinarayi Vijayan ji, Union Government of India, all political parties, people of Trivandrum and Kerala for their continued support and faith in Adani Group. We promise to uphold the trust put in by everyone and continue to deliver on the promise. Thank you. Jai Hind.
कार इंश्योरेंस डन।
पॉलिसी बाजार से कराया?
नहीं।
तो तू ज़ीब्रा नहीं हो सकता। कार नई हो या पुरानी, पॉलिसी बाजार पे कंपेयर करके खरीदो और 30,000 तक बचाओ। इसलिए तू ज़ीब्रा तो नहीं है, तू है गधा। काइंड ऑफ।
MDH कसूरी मेथी लाजवाब है, लाजवाब है।
स्वाद और सुगंध इसकी
लाजवाब है, लाजवाब है।
अगर MDH कसूरी मेथी नहीं डाला
तो खाली हाथ मलते रह जाओगे।
एक एक पत्ता हाथ से चुना, स्वाद और सुगंध जगाए कई गुना।
आपके घर के खाने में रेस्टोरेंट जैसा स्वाद ले आए MDH का शाही पनीर मसाला। पनीर को क्या मस्त बना डाला।
All right, moving on. Prime Minister Modi has kicked off his campaign in Tamil Nadu by blasting the DMK government over the row concerning lighting of the Kartigai Deepam. Prime Minister Modi said that the MK Stalin-led government insulted Lord Murugan and the courts and also called DMK an enemy of Tamil culture. Prime Minister Modi said that while BJP upheld faith and traditions, DMK has been politicizing religious issues for electoral advantage. Prime Minister Modi also said that all he has done in his government is to protect the Tamil culture. This comes as the NDA led by the Prime Minister, who is joined by all his allies, held a huge rally in Madurantakam. Let's listen in.
तमिल संस्कृति की बात नहीं करते, हम उसकी रक्षा के लिए संकल्प भाव से काम भी करते हैं। अभी कुछ दिनों पहले जब भगवान मुरुगन के दीप को लेकर एक विवाद खड़ा किया गया, तो हमारे नेताओं ने भक्तों के अधिकारों के लिए आवाज उठाने का काम किया, लेकिन डीएमके और इनके साथियों ने वोट बैंक को खुश करने के लिए कोई तक को नहीं छोड़ा, कोर्ट को भी उन्होंने बदनाम किया। डीएमके तमिलनाडु की संस्कृति, सब तमिलनाडु की संस्कृति की अगर कोई सबसे बड़ी दुश्मन है तो वो डीएमके है। நண்பர்களே, நாங்கள் தமிழ் கலாச்சாரம் பற்றி
All right, we're going to talk about this with our guest. Joining us on the program at this point in time is Mr. Savio Rodriguez, senior journalist and political commentator, also the editor-in-chief of the Goa Chronicle. Dr. Syed Asad Abbas, political analyst, joining us all the way from Bangalore. Lakshmi Ramachandran, Congress spokesperson, with us on the show as well. S. Murli Dharan, political analyst, with us on the program. And last but not the least, Binu Menon, BJP leader, with us on the program as well. Savio, I'll begin with you. Well, first of all, you have been a keen observer of how the politics, or rather the politics for the coming elections, has been shaping up in Tamil Nadu. Well, no national party has been able to form a government in Tamil Nadu since I can recall. It's always the regional parties, the AIDMK or the DMK, that has ruled the roost, for the lack of a better word. But there's a new kid on the block. There is a new force in the form of TVK, which has gotten a lot of parties excited, as well as it has dampened the spirit of certain parties as well. What has been your observation, Savio, of what is likely to happen in Tamil Nadu? From what we heard, the DMK got a majority last time, though they were with the Congress party. It did not make a difference because they still were able to cross that majority mark. This time, the assertion is that no single party is going to get through the halfway mark.
Vin, thank you for having me on your show. Let me begin with the inherent quality of the people of Tamil Nadu. The people of Tamil Nadu are extremely clear in what they want and what they expect of their political leaders. So a lot of politics in Tamil Nadu has to do with the wants and the needs of the people of Tamil Nadu and how it dovetails into national interest. Why regional parties have been successful is because regional parties have focused mostly on issues based in Tamil Nadu and then synergizing with the center in order to ensure that the people of Tamil Nadu and the interests of the state of Tamil Nadu are taken care of through conducive and a strong relationship building between the state and the center. This has happened with AIDMK, this has happened with DMK, and they've been very strong in the state for a very long time. So it is not going to be easy for any political party nationally to upset this particular makeup of the people of Tamil Nadu, because they have more confidence in their regional leaders, right? So having said that, you have DMK, which is slightly on a decline, but not exactly on a decline. They still continue to be in a very strong hold in Tamil Nadu, and BJP on its own will never be able to upset DMK's stand as of now. But what NDA can do with AIA, DMK, and the others joining the NDA fold, there is a very close probability of them being competitive enough, but not that powerful enough yet. Because in order to cross the magic number, you need to do about 126 seats to be a majority in the government. I think the NDA right now is a little short of at least 30 to 35 seats, even in the current, people that they've got to get, parties that they've got together in the NDA fold. So in that context, I still see DMK being the one turning to come out stronger, even though there is a resentment with a lot of people in Tamil Nadu against the DMK. But because the AIDMK is not strong yet, the people of Tamil Nadu will choose the DMK. That's how it operates. But having pitted both AIDMK and DMK together, I think TVK's Talapati Vijay is going to be somebody that is going to create a little bit of a flutter or in the political space, and he already has. What you're going to see is that he's not going to only eat from the DMK's vote, he's also going to eat from the AIDMK's vote. And that is why I see him being the person getting about 10 to 11% of the vote share. And that is going to be something that is going to be competitive. Now, the question is, does the NDA, is NDA going to be able to align with Vijay in some form or the other? Is Vijay going to go alone? If Vijay is going to go alone, Vijay in 2026 is going to be just a political leader who's got 25 seats, may or may not necessarily be the kingmaker. But if there is some sort of alliance that comes with the NDA, then the NDA is extremely powerful and the DMK is going to go home. That's how I see it. But that coming together is very important. What is most important also for political leaders, national parties, because the Congress, for example, is extremely poor in Tamil Nadu right now. And Congress was one of the top parties in Tamil Nadu, even though there was a regional fold. So national parties must understand that Tamil Nadu politics is not the kind of politics like you would in the north, play the kind of politics in the north. You cannot go with a Hindutva agenda in Tamil Nadu because they are already religious enough. You can't teach a Tamilian to be religious. But what you can go to them, and that is where the NDAs might have some inroads, is with development, is with opportunities for better employment for the youth in Tamil Nadu, efforts to ensure women empowerment spreads in the place like Tamil Nadu. So it's a very unique, slightly complicated from a national party perspective. But if you get the regional mix correct, then the DMK can be defeated. But right now, I still see the DMK in a strong position.
All right, fair enough. Dr. Syed Asad Abbas, how are you looking at the political situation evolving out of Tamil Nadu? TVK, of course, is a new force. The Congress wants to ally with it. They have already told the DMK that if we don't get 40 seats, we don't want to be with you. We are not sure whether Vijay wants to in fact ally with the Congress or not. The BJP perhaps also wants the same from the AIDMK. They want more seats as compared to what they were able to contest on. What I'm hearing is that 60 apiece is what the BJP is asking for. Do you think these permutations and combinations are, putting a lot of attention on TVK now?
Firstly, Vineet, thank you for having me on your show. Thank you. And of course, it's always a pleasure to debate and discuss important topics here from the beautiful south of India on your national television channel. I've always believed, Vineet, with great power, there's great responsibility and equal accountability. Now the accountability sets in here. Of course, the DMK being the ruling dispensation. Now there is certainly going to be a competition there. Competition coming from the likes of AIADMK, the NDA alliance with the Bharatiya Janata Party, and of course, the new kid on the block, the big factor, the X factor, which is TVK, the super duper star Vijay. Let us understand that in Tamil Nadu or even in the South politics, a big actor does play a certain role. If you even see in the case of the Andhra politics, what we saw with Pawan Kalyan finally making a breakthrough, this could also be just a moment. But right now, we do not have any calculations as to how TVK's Vijay will fit in the figure. Coming to the Dravidian Munnetra Kazhagam party, the DMK, undoubtedly M.K. Stalin is one leader which cannot be discounted. Let us also understand that the might of AIA-DMK took a huge hit without Jayalalitha, Iron Lady of the South politics. Of course, we have EPS, OPS trying their best to root. Unfortunately, a young leader like Anna Malai was taken off from the route of the South politics, Tamil Nadu. I have great respect for a leader like Anna Malai, who was a brilliant IPS officer in my state of Karnataka, in Bengaluru, but nevertheless, such is politics. Now coming straight to the point, has DMK performed? The answer is yes. Is the DMK Congress alliance intact? Certainly it is yes. But the fact of the matter, let us understand that in the face of Tamil Nadu elections, the BJP is a negligible force. We know what happened in the previous Lok Sabha elections as well. Now, of course, it is the assembly elections, but BJP, without the crutches, the support of EPS, OPS of the AIA-DMK, has no substantial standing in the Tamil Nadu. Let us understand that the DMK especially understands the Tamil pride, the Tamil culture, the Tamil language, irrespective of all the optics which Modi ji, Amit Shah ji and the BJP might bring in. The people of Tamil Nadu certainly do understand that only and only the people of Tamil Nadu will be given the votes which they deserve. And for a Tamil Nadu, the culture, language is their pride, and that shall remain sacrosanct. Now coming to the future of Tamil Nadu politics, I believe that DMK again has a strong chance for making it. But for that, their policies need to fit in. The right work needs to be done on ground, and they should be able to win the trust, the vote, and the mandate of the people there, without which it would be only a facade. Also, let us understand that Kamal Hassan is also a factor. Kamal Hassan, with the support of the DMK, was able to make through in the Rajya Sabha. And let us understand that a superstar, a legend like Kamal Hassan, will be used as a star campaigner. When two forces combine, a star like Kamal Hassan with the enhancement of a DMK, that shall come through very strongly. Now the question is, will Rahul Gandhi be a factor? Will Modi ji be a factor? Not to the extent of the regional parties like the DMK and Anna DMK. And of course, politics is, like they say, is one of the most exciting factors. And coming to the roots of Tamil Nadu, every single voter will be into it and will be invested into it completely. Now to TVK's Vijay, I'd say, when you do the most common things in life, in the most uncommon way, you command the attention of the world. And Vijay is indeed one superstar, one son of the soil, Mannina Maga, like they say, is going to be quite a factor which could eat into and break into votes of the DMK and the Anna DMK. Now, it is all about what he results. If he's going to have a pre-poll
I see your
alliance
point,
or a
but there's
post-poll
also
alliance.
this talk about his movie being stalled for political reasons, but we'll get to that a little later. Lakshmi Ramachandran, Congress spokesperson, also with us on the program. Lakshmi Ramachandran, your assessment of how is the Congress going to be playing its card along with the DMK at this point in time? The buzz is that you have asked for more seats, but the DMK is not relenting.
Good evening. As far as our alliance is concerned, it is very, very strong. We, as you know, DMK is part of the India Alliance nationally, and in Tamil Nadu, it's DMK that leads the India Alliance. And as far as seat sharing and power sharing and things like that, talks are on, and it is for the leadership of both the parties to decide. And we have expressed our reading of the ground to our leadership, and I am sure our leadership will take into consideration the sentiments of the Tamil Nadu Congress cadre while in their talks with the DMK. Now, coming to the Prime Minister's visit today to Madurantakam, Chengalpattu district, see, the Prime Minister talked about NDA Sarkar, he spoke about double engine Sarkar, he even spoke about DMK and Congress, but not once was ADMK's, AIADMK's name mentioned in his speech. So today, the most disappointed man was the leader of ADMK, Mr. Edapadi Palaniswamy. Mr. Palaniswamy has been claiming that it is ADMK that will form the government. You know, he has never mentioned about a coalition government. He, in all his speeches, he has been talking only about ADMK forming the government, because he knows that BJP does not have acceptance among the people of Tamil Nadu. He has been forced into forming this alliance, and so is Mr. TTV Dinakaran, who was, you know, sworn enemy of Mr. EPS until yesterday. And today, you know, you see both of them on the sharing the stage. The ADMK is the primary opposition party in Tamil Nadu. But if you see, it is Mr. Piyush Goyal who is talking to all the alliance partners. I mean, that is not sending the right message to the people of Tamil Nadu. If BJP is going to be leading this alliance, you know, I can tell you that this entire alliance will be outright rejected by the Tamil voters. Now, coming to, you know, some of the other things that the Prime Minister said, I hope you all know that the BJP had earlier planned the Prime Minister's visit to Tirupparamgundram, that is Madurai, you know, where the Deepam issue was, you know, unnecessarily instigated by the BJP leaders here. But it was ADMK that drove sense into them, and they said that going to Tirupparamgundram is not a good idea, and that is why the meeting was, you know, the public meetings spot was moved to Maduranthagam, Chengalpet. People were expecting that there will be some solution for the problem that exporters in Tirupur and Coimbatore are facing today. I hope you all know that a large amount of stock which was supposed to be sent to the United States is all piling up in Tirupur and Coimbatore and Erode because of the issue of the tariffs. The Chief Minister had written to the Prime Minister and to find a solution, and if not, provide some kind of temporary relief to these exporters. But not a word was mentioned about it in the speech. And as you know, we were expecting that Hosur, which is an industrial hub in Krishnagiri district, will get a airport very soon. And what we hear is it was one of the partners in NDA that sabotaged Hosur getting the airport. It was the civil aviation minister who is from Telugu Desam party, who denied Tirupur this airport because they are, planning.
All right, I see your point. I see your point. We have other panelists that I want to, in fact, go to as well. Mr. S. Muralidharan, political analyst, is also here with us. Mr. Muralidharan, what do you make of what Lakshmi Ramachandran has said, that the BJP, of course, has been reaching out to a number of allies that perhaps may not be the best way of going about wooing regional parties?
No, what's wrong in it? I think the alliance is known as the NDA alliance, and I don't find anything wrong in it. So, I'm a little puzzled, when listening to all the, panel, with due respect.
Sir, I can't see your video. I'm not able to see you. That's going to be a problem, sir. I can't see your video right now. Maybe you can fix that, sir, and we can come back to you momentarily. Binu Menon, BJP leader, also with us on the program. Binu Menon, you've heard whatever has been said about the Prime Minister's visit, and of course the way in which the BJP is conducting its alliance exercises in Tamil Nadu. It is not advisable to go about this way, is what Lakshmi Ramachandran had to say. What are your thoughts?
The advices by Congress on alliance is something of a joke, because everywhere in India you can see that their alliances have been failing, they have been pulling legs, they have been backbiting each other. And everywhere it has happened, whether it is Bihar, whether it was been Uttar Pradesh, everywhere. So taking lessons about alliance from Congress, I don't think advisable anyways. But as far as NDA is concerned, wherever we have formed our government, we have respected our alliance, and the alliance have been in good terms with us, and we have been working with our alliance in a very smooth way. And as per the way the NDA performs, the BJP government performs, we focus on deliverance. What we promise, we deliver. It is, and Lakshmi ji, she said about, it was a meager matter what happened at Tiruvananthapuram, that Kartikeya Deepam. For her, it's a meager matter because the Sanatan Dharma Vishwasis, they were heard a court judgment which was in their favor. Even after that, the police manhandled the Hindu devotees there. For them, it is a simple matter because they believe in appeasing the minority. And it has been having these people, the Congress or the opposition, they have been doing it everywhere. Even in Tamil Nadu, if you see, the allocation for the church has been increased by 100%. They won't shun to take away the money from the temples of Tamil Nadu, but they would not use it for the welfare of the people, welfare of the Hindus. And they don't have the guts to do it the same with the other religious establishments. And as far as NDA is concerned, well, since 2014, the central government has spent 3 lakh crores on Tamil Nadu. The electrifying the Madurai Bondi Kunnar line, it has been electrified. And a project.
Okay, there seems to be a problem with your connection, sir. We have to wrap up. Before that, I really want to, in fact, rope in Savio also for one last comment. Savio, of course, a lot of opinions coming in. I'm yet to get some insight from most of them on how the new kid on the block is going to be effective when it comes to Tamil Nadu. Is he going to be a kingmaker? Somebody also mentioned Kamal Hassan. I don't think the last time Kamal Hassan took part in elections, it was a favorable result for him, but that is not what you can say about Vijay.
I think the current situation where the CBFC targeted Vijay's movie was actually a very bad move, if you were to ask me at this political point of time. It was a bad move by the CBFC and a good move on behalf of Vijay because his popularity soared. But what it did do and what it continues to do is that producers who invest money into making movies and they become victims of politics, is what I see, is obviously going to suffer. And the people who are involved in the movie business, people who have worked for the movie are going to suffer as well. So I think what it's done for Vijay, this particular movie, is when Vijay would have been at about 6 to 7% of the voter base, with the attack on the movie, the CBFC going after it, with the when you hear the court proceedings, you hear the faux that happened, you will realize that Vijay has actually just gained momentum because of the stalling of the movie. If they would have allowed the movie to go, there would have been a probability of a rise into Vijay's popularity. But with stalling the movie, Vijay's popularity has grown more. But it's affected the producers. It's affected people who are with the movie. And I don't think that's required in politics. And personally, that's how I look at it. But from a point of view of politics, I think Vijay is definitely going to create some dent in both the AIDMK and the DMK votes.
Fair enough. We have run out of time. Appreciate everybody who joined in and shared their perspective on this very important and high-profile elections in Tamil Nadu, which is imminent in a few months. We take a short break.
कार इंश्योरेंस डन।
पॉलिसी बाजार से कराया?
नहीं।
तो तू ज़ीब्रा नहीं हो सकता।
मतलब?
अगर पॉलिसी बाजार से कार इंश्योरेंस कंपेयर करके लेता तो 12,000 रुपए तक बचा सकता था। इसलिए तू ज़ीब्रा तो नहीं है, तू है
गधा।
काइंड ऑफ।
अब आया असली स्वाद।
अब आया स्वाद।
जब स्वाद के पड़े हो लाले तो MDH का चंकी चाट मसाला डालें। MDH का चंकी चाट मसाला।
The T20 World Cup 2026 has just delivered one of the wildest plot twists in recent cricket history. Picture this: Bangladesh, the team that's been steadily climbing the rankings, suddenly says, "Now we're not coming." They refuse to play their group matches in India over security concerns. The ICC slammed the door on any venue switch to Sri Lanka, and boom, Scotland got the golden ticket as a replacement. Well, it's January 2026. The tournament is weeks away and the cricket world is buzzing like a packed stadium during a super over. Scotland, the plucky associate side famous for giant killings, is suddenly thrust into the big league spotlight. Meanwhile, Bangladesh stares at a self-inflicted blackout from one of cricket's premier events. Let's dive into the drama, the memes, the heartbreak and the cold hard cash that's about to vanish. Hello and welcome. You're watching Deep Dive on Newsx. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. It started with whispers, Mustafizur Rahman's IPL contract drama, rising political heat between the two nations, and then the BCB dropping the bomb. We want our games moved out of India. Security fears were cited, backed by government voices. The ICC, well, they ran independent checks, gave the green light of no credible threats and basically said play ball or forfeit. Bangladesh dug in, appeals denied, 24-hour ultimatum missed, final DRC hearing not even on the table. By late January, the ICC confirms Scotland steps in based on rankings as the highest non-qualified team. Irony alert, the last time a replacement crashed an ICC party, Bangladesh kind of rode the wave of that chaos. The tables now, though, have turned brutally. Inside the Bangladesh camp, it's chaos. Players weren't even fully looped in before the BCB went full hardline. One report had stars admitting they couldn't sleep, worrying if the World Cup dream was dead. Fans and media back home are livid. Headlines scream self-inflicted wound, major setback and avoidable disaster. Former players are ripping into the board for poor consultation, while social media is flooded with desperate memes. Tigers in cages, empty stadium seats labelled Bangladesh World Cup slot. The feeling, a nation that fought hard to earn full member status now watching from the sidelines because of politics trumping cricket. Over in India, the tone is more eye roll than sympathy. Former captain Mohammad Azharuddin straight up said Bangladesh will be the biggest losers here. Players and ex-players frame it as unnecessary drama. ICC cleared security, so why escalate? In fact, listen in to this statement. Let's give the Scots their flowers. They're hyped. From associate grind to sudden main stage entry. Imagine their WhatsApp groups exploding. Lads, pack the kits. We're in the T20 World Cup. Fans already dreaming of upsets against big boys in the Group C. It's the ultimate underdog story and cricket loves those. Scotland gets exposure, prize money shots, ranking boosts, while Bangladesh licks their wounds. Here's where it stings the deepest. The BCB claimed the board won't bleed too badly. No massive participation fee forfeiture. But let's take a look at some maths now. For the players themselves, it's a direct hit. Reports indicate that simply participating in the tournament would have netted the squad around 4 crore BDT or about 2.5 crore in total match-related earnings and bonuses. With Bangladesh potentially now scheduled for up to 9 games in a full run, individual players could have pocketed significant per-match fees, often in the range of lakhs per game for seniors, plus performance bonuses that scale with wins and progression. All of that, well, wiped clean. No games played means zero from ICC prize money pots either. The overall tournament prize pool sits at around $13.5 million for 2026, where even a group stage exit might have delivered hundreds of thousands in shared winnings, while a deep run, semi-finals or final could have pushed team earnings into the millions of US dollar range. That's all gone now. Then there's the bigger board level damage. The BCB stands to lose approximately 325 crore taka or 240 crore rupees in total impact. According to multiple reports, this isn't just one-off prize money, it's tied to ICC's annual revenue distribution model, where full members like Bangladesh receive a fixed share of around 45% slice of global ICC revenues, heavily boosted by major event participation. Missing the World Cup slashes that chunk, plus forfeited participation guarantees typically $300,000 to $500,000 per team. Broadcast revenue shares linked to exposure and sponsorship advertising dips from zero global visibility. Players could lose lakhs per missed match. No compensation, promised careers stall, contracts shrink, families feel it as well. It's not just a tournament miss, it's a financial gut punch that could echo for years. This isn't just about one team skipping games, it's a reminder of how quickly geopolitics can hijack sport. Bangladesh risks isolation now. Fewer bilaterals, tougher invites, reputational damage. Scotland gains a fairy tale chapter and the fans robbed of what could have been thrilling matchups. As the tournament kicks off, eyes will be on Scotland's debut heroics and Bangladesh's quiet regret. Will they bounce back stronger or has this boycott become a scar? Well, one thing's certain, cricket just got a whole lot messier and way more interesting. Joining us live, Shekhar Vijay, sports commentator. Shekhar, Bangladesh's loss is Scotland's gain, but how big a setback is this for Bangladesh?
Today, one really feels for the players more than anything else. I think the Bangladesh Cricket Board jumped the gun on this one in more ways than one. And, they were impulsive. They didn't have a plan. They were trying to belittle India. They were trying to belittle the ICC. They were taking on everyone on board and they paid the price for it. The fact of the matter here is it started from the Bangladeshi, the Hindus in Bangladesh getting burned, getting destroyed, getting attacked. And to cover up for that, Bangladesh is doing this. There is also another lesson here. There is elections round the corner in Bangladesh, and Bangladesh thought that with elections round the corner, they would try to put India under the bus. They would try to showcase India in a bad light. But what has really happened here is because of everything what's happened now, the players in Bangladesh are uncertain. They're not sure whether they're coming or going. They are out of the tournament. Another team has got an opportunity to make headlines here in the T20 World Cup. Bangladesh has suffered an all-time low in terms of credibility, and on top of that, they have sanctions. They have, they have to pay the money, and they have lost face for their sport-loving public. We all know Bangladeshi fans are very passionate. We've seen that when matches happen across India, across Bangladesh, across the different centers, the Bangladeshi fans come in to support their teams. And these Bangladeshi fans must be really paranoid, must be really angry about how things have turned out right now. Because here, the cricketers are looking really lost. They're looking like rabbits lost in the traffic of headlights around them. Because they really have nobody with whom they can look out for support. They really have nobody who they can look up to right now. Because the Bangladesh Cricket Board has just deserted them. And just because they wanted to, I think it's a matter of emotions. It's a matter of impulsiveness. It's a matter of trying to belittle India on the world stage, which they didn't realize that the T20 World Cup is not a World Cup for India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Bangladesh. It's a World Cup where there are 12 nations and millions of people across the world watch it. They thought they could get under India's skin, but the ICC really took the right decision here, and now Bangladesh is paying the price for it.
Yes, absolutely. Also, Shekhar, at the end of the day, of course, this is a big setback, for their sporting future, for their sporting side, simply because of some petty geopolitical gains or political optics, isn't it?
Absolutely, Uday. See, Uday, the World Cup is a once in 2 years phenomenon, especially the T20 World Cup. Now, in a World Cup, as a player, what you really want is to come and express yourself and show the rest of the world this is what you're all about in terms of your cricketing mind, cricketing prowess, your batting, bowling, all-round skills, your fielding skills. Now, Bangladesh doesn't get that opportunity. Now, they don't get that opportunity. They don't get to play in any of the leagues in the world because, none of the leagues have seen them in operation at the T20 World Cup. So, who's the loser? The players. The World Cup is about the players. The World Cup is always about the players. It's not about the country. And at the end of the day, the players feel really lost, the Bangladeshi players, because the board really did not stick up for them. And that's where I think they lost the plot. They try to mix politics with sports and religion. And I think any country which does that will always end up as a loser. I think Bangladesh does not need to look any further. They just need to look a few distance ahead. They can see Pakistan there. Pakistan is bearing the brunt for it. Because Pakistan has always tried to mix politics with sports and religion. And now they're paying the price for it. And Bangladesh is paying the price for it now with the fact that they're not in this T20 World Cup, where they could have, played a good role. They could have shown the rest of the world what they're really capable of. Now, the players can't do that. They'll be cooling the heels in Bangladesh while another team comes in and will play really well.
Yeah, Scotland does have a lot to gain, of course, now, and who knows what they can possibly do with this opportunity.
Absolutely, absolutely, Uday. I think this is a great opportunity for Scotland, and Scotland, let's not underrate them, underestimate them. They are big game players. They have a very, very, very passionate crowd which supports them, and they all must be really excited about the fact that till yesterday things were not happening, and now they've qualified, and now they're in the World Cup. So one person's loss is another person's gain, and in sports, and that's how it really is. It's all very gladiatorial, and it's about who wins or who loses at the end of it. Bangladesh is basically paying the price for it, for doing something which they really needed. They shouldn't have done this. They shouldn't have even questioned India in terms of India being a safe country or not, because the whole world knows that India is safe. Come on, I think it's really funny that they say that India is not a country which is not safe to pass by. Even after all the security checks in country, even after ICC doing whatever is required to be done, they have done everything. Even then, if Bangladesh has a problem and they're dilly-dallying about it, and I think there is a bigger plot. There's something else which is questioning Bangladesh, or which is making Bangladesh do this. It's more political, I feel, more than anything being more sporty.
Yes, Shekhar Vijayan, appreciate you joining us with your perspective on this story.
कार इंश्योरेंस डन।
पॉलिसी बाजार से कराया?
नहीं।
तो तू ज़ीब्रा नहीं हो सकता।
मतलब?
अगर पॉलिसी बाजार से कार इंश्योरेंस कंपेयर करके लेता तो 12,000 रुपए तक बचा सकता था। इसलिए तू ज़ीब्रा तो नहीं है, तू है गधा। काइंड ऑफ।
अब आया असली स्वाद।
अब आया स्वाद।
जब स्वाद के पड़े हो लाले तो MDH का चंकी चाट मसाला डालें। MDH का चंकी चाट मसाला।
MDH लाल रंग इसका अपार, तीखा कम है फिर भी स्वाद, बेमिसाल MDH कश्मीरी।
MDH कश्मीरी।
MDH
कार इंश्योरेंस डन।
पॉलिसी बाजार से कराया?
नहीं।
तो तू ज़ीब्रा नहीं हो सकता। कार नई हो या पुरानी, पॉलिसी बाजार पे कंपेयर करके खरीदो और 30,000 तक बचाओ। इसलिए तू ज़ीब्रा तो नहीं है, तू है गधा। काइंड ऑफ।
What you just saw on your screens was the visual of a tragic suicide bombing that struck a wedding ceremony in northwestern Pakistan on the 23rd of January 2026, claiming at least 5 lives and injuring around 10 others, with some reports citing higher figures of 7 killed and up to 25 wounded as rescue operations continued and casualty counts were updated. Arun, welcome. You're watching Deep Dive by Newsx. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. Today we are decoding the horrific Dera Ismail Khan bombing in Pakistan. The attack occurred in the Dera Ismail Khan district of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province at the home of Noor Alam Mehsood, also referred to as Noor Alam, a prominent local figure who heads a community peace committee. This committee consists of former militants who have surrendered and are now working with authorities against insurgent groups. The bomber detonated an explosives-laden vest amidst the wedding guests, turning what should have been a joyous celebration into a scene of chaos and devastation. The explosion caused structural damage, including the partial collapse of a roof, which trapped some victims under debris and complicated immediate rescue efforts. Police quickly cordoned off the area, and emergency teams worked to pull survivors from the rubble, while hospitals in the region treated the injured for blast-related trauma. Shrapnel wounds and burns. Videos that surfaced shortly after the blast, shared on social media and picked up by news outlets, provided a grim glimpse into the moments before and after the explosion. One widely circulated clip showed the lively wedding atmosphere. Guests gathered in a courtyard or hall, music playing, people dancing and chatting in traditional attire. The footage captured the sudden flash and deafening blast, followed by screams, dust clouds and panicked running. As attendees realized what had happened, another short video from the immediate aftermath depicts rescuers and family members frantically clearing debris, calling out names and carrying injured people on stretchers or in arms towards waiting vehicles. A third piece of footage, likely from a mobile phone inside or near the venue, shows the chaotic scene post-detonation. Overturned chairs, scattered decorations, blood on the ground and people in shock tending to the wounded. These amateur recordings, while distressing, have helped investigators and the public piece together the sequence of events, confirming the blast happened in the midst of the gathering rather than at an entry point. No group has officially claimed responsibility at this stage, but suspicion has fallen heavily on the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, also known as the Pakistani Taliban. The TTP has carried out similar attacks in the past, targeting pro-government tribal elders, peace committee members and security-linked figures in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and the former tribal areas. Nur Alam Mahsood's role as a peace committee leader makes him and his family likely intended targets. The attack appears designed to punish those who have defected from militancy or cooperated with the state. These fit a broader pattern of militant violence in the region, where the TTP and affiliated groups have escalated operations amidst ongoing military operations along the Afghanistan border. The timing during a crowded social event like a wedding maximizes casualties and spreads fear, a common tactic to undermine local support for anti-militant initiatives and demonstrate reach despite security efforts. This incident also highlights the persistent security challenges in parts of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, where armed groups exploit local grievances, border porosity and political tensions. Pakistani authorities have condemned the attack, vowing a thorough investigation and intensified operations against those responsible. Condolences have come in from across the political spectrum, with calls for unity against terrorism. For the affected families, the tragedy has shattered what was meant to be a day of union and happiness, leaving behind grief, medical emergencies and questions about safety, even when in private celebrations. As investigations proceed, including forensic analysis of the explosive device and possible intelligence on the bomber's entry, the attack serves as a sobering reminder of the fragile peace in Pakistan's northwest and the human cost of the long-running fight against militancy. Major General Rajan Kochar, defense expert, is joining us live. Major General Kochar, what do you make of this shocking incident being reported from Pakistan?
Right. Uday, see, it is clearly highlighting the fragile law and order situation in this region. If you remember, in 2018, the merger of the FATA took place, that is the Federal Administrative Tribal Areas, with Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and the actual aim was that to have an area of jurisdiction in which I think governance could be better done, the law and order situation could be better implemented. But what we are seeing is that in spite of military operations by the Pakistani army, this region has remained very, very unstable and volatile. And geography also plays an important role because firstly, it is bordering Afghanistan, and a border is quite porous in the sense that the people keep on moving from one side to the other side. Infiltration takes place. The terrain is very rugged, and multiple infiltration corridors are there. Khyber is there, Gomal is there, Tochi is there. All these areas are vulnerable to infiltration. So we see there is a strong possibility or likelihood of these Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan moving from Afghanistan into Pakistan and Pakistan into Afghanistan, and that is why it is becoming extremely difficult for the Pakistan military to take this kind of an action. Second is that the lack of governance in this area. See, when you have this kind of insurgency, we may call it militants, but I would rather give it a term of insurgency, because when the needs of the people are not fulfilled in these areas, when there are a lot of ungoverned spaces here, where the security forces dare to go even, because we have seen many instances of the IED blast also taking place. The convoy is also being targeted in this area, and therefore these peace committees were formed to help the security forces in firstly intelligence, and secondly to you assist them in carrying out their tasks to counter this kind of insurgent activity. But I don't think it is giving any great dividends, because we have seen this is not an isolated incident. If you go back in the last 1 year, you would see there have been a number of instances where the peace committees have been targeted by the Taliban Pakistan, and 4 major problems which I think the Pakistan government needs to address here, which is not addressing. One is the high youth unemployment in this area, poor educational outcomes here, limited industrial base.
Yes.
There is so much of minerals here, but it's not been exploited, and a weak municipal governance.
Absolutely.
And
also, as you were saying, it's part of a pattern of incidents in this region, which are leading to, of course, the deteriorating law and order there, and this fear and instability, of course. But no group claiming responsibility so far. Do you believe it is likely that the TTP is behind this?
See, if I look back at the record of the past instances, and if we look at the way TTP operates in this region, and this is a suicide bombing attack, something like the Majid Brigade of the Baluchis, because Baluchis also have a Majid Brigade which specializes in these kind of suicidal attacks. So similarly, TTP also has a smaller force which carries out these suicidal attacks. So I think though it is too early for us to deduce that it is the work of Taliban Pakistan, but going by the past precedences and the way these attacks have been carried out, it is in all probability it has been done by them.
All right, appreciate you joining us, Major General Kochhar, with your perspective on this segment. The family of Assam's cultural icon Zubeng Garg has written to Prime Minister Modi requesting a special court for expedited trial and appropriate diplomatic legal action in Singapore in connection with his death in the island country last September. They also sought that bail should not be granted to any of the accused in the case till the judicial process is over. In a memorandum signed by Garg's wife Garima, sister Palmi Borthakur and uncle Manoj Borthakur, the family said that singer-composer's death has left behind not merely a grieving family but millions of people seeking clarity and lawful action in the matter. Nibir Deka joins us for more on this story. Nibir, the family of Zubeng Garg now has written to Prime Minister Modi. What have they said?
Well, absolutely. They have written to the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Zubeng Garg's family, his wife actually, and they have requested the constitution of a special court and an expedited trial in Assam with appropriate diplomatic legal action in Singapore and in this matter of the death of late Zubeng Garg, because you know that the death of Zubeng Garg happened in Singapore, and as a result of that there were a lot of hassles as well to complete the investigation, and as a result of that the family has now requested the Prime Minister of constituting a special court and to expedite the trial in Assam, and also appropriate diplomatic action when it comes to taking this issue up with the Singapore government. However, already the diplomatically the Union Home Ministry had already written and also have been in constant talks as far as the investigation is concerned and already in line. But however, the family has now again reiterated that request and further asked for a better follow-up of the matter.
All right, appreciate you joining us, Nibir, with those updates. On that note, a quick break.
कार इंश्योरेंस डन।
पॉलिसी बाजार से कराया?
नहीं।
तो तू ज़ीब्रा नहीं हो सकता।
मतलब?
अगर पॉलिसी बाजार से कार इंश्योरेंस कंपेयर करके लेता तो 12,000 रुपए तक बचा सकता था। इसलिए तू ज़ीब्रा तो नहीं है, तू है
गधा।
काइंड ऑफ।
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च, सस्ते वाले दाल मसाले स्वाद हुआ बेकार। MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल। ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े। क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
कार इंश्योरेंस डन।
पॉलिसी बाजार से कराया?
नहीं।
तो तू ज़ीब्रा नहीं हो सकता। कार नई हो या पुरानी, पॉलिसी बाजार पे कंपेयर करके खरीदो और 30,000 तक बचाओ। इसलिए तू ज़ीब्रा तो नहीं है, तू है
गधा।
काइंड ऑफ।
कार इंश्योरेंस डन।
पॉलिसी बाजार से कराया?
नहीं।
तो तू ज़ीब्रा नहीं हो सकता।
मतलब?
अगर पॉलिसी बाजार से कार इंश्योरेंस कंपेयर करके लेता तो 12,000 रुपए तक बचा सकता था। इसलिए तू ज़ीब्रा तो नहीं है, तू है
गधा।
काइंड ऑफ।
कार इंश्योरेंस डन।
पॉलिसी बाजार से कराया?
नहीं।
तो तू ज़ीब्रा नहीं हो सकता। कार नई हो या पुरानी, पॉलिसी बाजार पे कंपेयर करके खरीदो और 30,000 तक बचाओ। इसलिए तू ज़ीब्रा तो नहीं है, तू है
गधा।
काइंड ऑफ।
This week on We Women Want, we are going to be discussing at what age should kids be allowed smartphones, the enticements of the digital world, and what are the lines that one can draw. So Shivani, if you can just, your first reaction on this.
As the director of the study school working with 1.5 to 5-year-olds, I'd say keep these phones away from the babies. There is a requirement for the phones and digital life, but at the right time.
As a mother of 2 kids, Sitiva?
Priya, the scariest words a parent can hear is "Mama," but everybody has one.
Pallavi, you're a millennial and you have a young kid. So how do you monitor the phone time?
I think there's no escape to the digital world, but it's only when we choose to give it to the kids constructively and consciously.
Watch We Women Want at these times on Newsx.
Hello and welcome. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're joining us on Newsx. After almost 2 decades of work and negotiations, the India-EU Free Trade Agreement is the closest it has ever been to fruition. The deal would not only benefit both sides enormously, but also come as a rude awakening for US President Donald Trump. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and the President of the European Council, Antonio Costa, will be in India from the 25th of January to the 27th of January as Republic Day chief guests and hold summit talks with Prime Minister Modi. This would mark a major milestone in India's trade diplomacy and deepen economic ties with one of the world's largest trading blocs, once signed and ratified by the European Parliament, a process that could take at least a year. The agreement is expected to significantly expand bilateral trade. It could provide a timely boost to Indian exports too, such as textiles and jewelry, which have been hit hard by the 50% US tariff since late August. For India, it gains access to a large stable market across 27 EU nations, boosting exports in sectors like pharmaceuticals, engineering goods, automotive components as well. Electronics opens up an alternative market for Indian labor-intensive industries hit by US tariffs like textiles, jewelry, leather goods and more, to also make them more competitive. For the EU, the deal supports supply chain diversification, reduces reliance on China and opens doors to India's fast-growing $4.2 trillion economy. The EU is amongst India's top trading partners alongside the US and China, with total goods and services trade exceeding $190 billion in 2024-2025. The rapid progress towards concluding the India-EU FTA is a result of renewed political will, sustained high-level engagement and changing global geopolitics. The shared challenge of China was also a significant factor in the negotiations between both sides. Both India and the EU already share a strong commercial relationship, with bilateral trade valued at $135 billion in financial year 24. In the longer run, it will be a win-win for everyone, clearly. Ambassador Bhashpati Mukherjee, former diplomat, is joining us on the broadcast. Dr. Sharat Kohli, senior economist, joins us live. Madhav Nalapat, editorial director of the Sunday Guardian, is with us as well. Madhav Nalapat, let me make a start with you first. How close are we to signing this deal with the EU? Do you believe it could happen at this crucial EU summit on the 27th of January, a day after Republic Day, in which, of course, these top EU officials are the chief guests? Professor Nalapat, can you hear me, sir?
Well, yeah, of course. Look, the fact of the matter is that President Trump has basically been sitting on the US-EU trade deal and on the India-US trade deal. My sources tell me the India-US trade deal, all the contours have been finalized in a way beneficial to both sides, but President Trump somehow, I don't know what he wants, but he's sitting on it. In the same way, he's basically picking a fight with the EU over Greenland. He now claims he's not interested in going to battle for Greenland. I'm glad. But the fact of the matter is that he's no longer a reliable partner. I mean, Trump's US is no longer a reliable partner. The EU, if we put them together, one of the largest economies in the world and one of our largest trading partners. And frankly, signing this deal will have immense symbolic significance, especially in the context of President Trump's tantrums against both the EU as well as India. Both sides can gain, and I'm sure Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal, under the guidance of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, will be making sure that the give and take process, that we don't give more than we take back, that we have an equal share of giving and an equal share of taking, and that a fair trade deal is signed. Before Prime Minister Modi came to office, numerous trade deals were signed that were very one-sided and that harmed the interests of India. That shouldn't be allowed to happen, and I'm sure it won't happen. So I would say, Uday, that this is a very welcome development, and it's a sign to the United States, it's a sign to the White House that India is not alone, the EU is not alone. We have very powerful partners, and including the EU, and a very welcome development. Thank you, Uday.
Dr. Sharat Kohli, how much really is riding economically on this trade agreement between India and the EU once it is finalized? Also, once it is announced and binding in nature between the two sides, is it correct that it could take perhaps a year to get into actual fruition? Because the EU Parliament will have to ratify it and clear it and whatnot?
Good evening, Uday, to you, my fellow panelists and Newsx viewers. Indeed, such large deals and such major deals, this deal has been under discussion for a decade. And the size of the deal, which is why they call it as mother of all deals, $186 to $188 billion of bilateral trade happening under the deal. This is, by the way, if we ignore that there are 27 nations in EU, and if we just treat it as a single unit, this is by far India's largest bilateral trade. If we don't treat them as big and small nations aside, EU, we treat EU as one single nation. So it is very large. In fact, in terms of merchandise, it is the largest, if we exclude the services for that matter. So I think this assumes extreme significance. It will send a message to America. It will reduce the dependence of Europe on the Chinese supply chain. Well, China, we all know, they can squeeze your arm, they can twist your arm at any point of time. So this will provide Europe an alternate, and Europe's export beverages and automobiles. Those are the two items which I feel You will see a lot more Mercedes, Audis, and BMWs moving around in India, and the prices for the people who are fond of these fancy cars, they will find that the prices will go down because the duty structure right now varies from 3% to 15%, and it can be higher for imported automobiles if it's coming as a CBU. But of course, the components will get cheaper. Well, the champagne lovers can look forward to a lot more foreign-made liquor coming to India, and a lot of other beverages. And Europe does manufacture things here and there, which you will find more on Indian shelves. And as for India, I think it's a win-win situation. Well, textiles, leather, footwear, gems and jewelry, pharmaceuticals, engineering goods, marine products. There have been some roadblocks in the India-EU trade deal over the agriculture, but I think that controversy has been resolved. That is one of the reasons why the deal was stuck. Well, the American president, Donald Tariff, did not agree to red line on the agri products. The red line was not respected, which is why the deal is in abeyance as of now, or the deal is pending as of now. But the Europeans understood that we are primarily an agri-driven economy. We are the food basket of the world. We cannot allow genetically modified crops. We cannot allow non-vegetarian fodder to be served here. We cannot allow non-veg-fed cattle, dairy products to be moving around in India. India is amongst the top 3 dairy producers in the world. So we don't really need to compromise on that. And I think this is how a deal works. I hope President Trump is listening to this show, because you agree to something, I agree to something, I don't agree to something, you don't agree to something, and finally we reach a compromise. That is how it happens. And finally, I think the deal is going to see the light of the day on 27th of January, hopefully, fingers crossed. I think it is indeed a mother of all deals. This will realign the global supply chain system overall. And I think US is going to find itself alienated after what President Trump is doing on Greenland. One day he says, I will not use force. The other day he says, I need full access. I've had a meeting with the Secretary General of NATO. We've already seen NATO ruptured now. I think NATO, as per me, only exists on papers. If we take out America, NATO is still there. But I don't know what president, who's friend of America, nobody knows. Who wants to get along with America, nobody knows. At Davos, he called the Board of Peace meeting all of a sudden, and major countries boycotted that deal. I mean, you had some chota-mota, as we call it, in chota-mota countries participating in Board of Peace. And he was so happy on the dais. He's trying to create an alternate platform from UN. I think these tactics, the bullying tactics, alienating tactics, the tactics to isolate yourself, are not going to work, because I think the days of 18th and 19th century of the colonial era, I think President Trump has forgotten that's over now. You can't just suddenly go and take over a country and, say that I want this, and you be my slaves, and you be my yes men, whatever I say, you'll have to agree. I think those days are over long, long ago. And even UK, the biggest ally of US, UK used to stand like this at all times. My bap, whatever you say, I'm fine. And I was surprised when UK was humiliated on Diego Garcia. UK has been humiliated on so many other fronts. He's been passing on nasty comments again. I think the self-respect in the EU nations has suddenly arisen. And I'm so glad that they're standing up with a spine. Earlier I used to find them missing. And the good thing which President Trump has done is that these FTA deals, Uday, they are coming up thick and fast. What was pending for years, suddenly, everybody feels we should go into a huddle and just do the deals quickly. So I think this is a good thing which President Trump is doing. He's uniting the world.
On this India-EU deal, what is the potential in this agreement? How long has it actually been between the two sides in reaching this agreement? Does the timing, of course, also show us that perhaps it's happening at a faster pace now because of this global reset and reshift? And what does it really mean for India-EU relations going forward? Ambassador Mukherjee.
Well, you should allow me to conclude my statement, Uday. I would respect that.
Sharat Korea, I'll come back to you. We need to get in a quick opening comment from Ambassador Mukherjee, and then I'm coming straight back to you. Ambassador Mukherjee, the floor is yours.
No, it's okay. Please carry on.
Ambassador Mukherjee, the floor is yours.
I actually think Dr. Kohli should be allowed to finish his.
No, I'll come back to him. I'll come back to him. You please make your point, and then I'll come straight back to it.
I didn't understand the first part of your question. Could you repeat it, please?
I was asking you, do you believe that the agreement is now happening at a faster pace because of the reset in ties that are happening world over?
Actually, there is a huge background to this trade deal, which I had been pursuing myself. It almost came through in 2007 until the bank crisis from US spread to Europe. There was a meltdown, and therefore the compromises which had been made on a much larger deal, it was called the BTIA, had to be given up. This present deal, I agree with Dr. Kohli, when it will be signed, and I think it is being signed on 27th of January, is the mother of all deals, because although many in India do not understand what is the EU, which is the reason why I wrote a book on it, the EU is an entity. The EU is not a organization. It's not a multilateral treaty organization. It is an entity of sovereign states who have voluntarily given up sovereignty to form the entity. In that voluntary giving up of sovereignty, trade is one of the issues which they have given up on. And therefore, you are dealing with the world's largest entity, which is opening up the world's largest market to you. Therefore, it is the mother of all deals, as Dr. Kohli said. And moreover, it gives us the much needed space to maneuver and to find the additional markets which have been damaged by the 500% tariffs. We've been able to get through it reasonably well so far, but in the middle and long term, without additional markets opening up, it is bound to slow down our GDP and our rapid growth. Therefore, it is very, very handy. The same applies to the EU, which was coerced, humiliated, and forced into concessions, which we in India watched in amazement that such a powerful bloc and entity caved in this manner, while India did not. That realization has now come to the EU because of the manner in which Trump behaved over Greenland, trying to bully his way through and annex Greenland. So now the EU is determined that this deal, which had been stuck up on a couple of important issues, not the agricultural one, not the duties we had put on their wines, that we had done as a negotiating tactic. That is classic Ministry of Commerce strategy. But there was this problem about personal data, data privacy, and other issues. They have all been sorted out, which means that a lot of our exports, which we were not able to get through to EU, will now go through. And this will make a huge difference to our growth. So I think that this whole idea of inviting the President of the European Commission as a chief guest and then having the India-EU summit and signing this deal was a brilliant initiative by our government led by Prime Minister Modi. And it also puts huge pressure on United States because we have made them understand that without getting into tutu meme, we've never got into tutu meme. Even on this so-called Gaza Peace Board, which does not have a single member of the P5 except for US, it doesn't have a single member of the G7, and it actually, its composition demonstrates the diminished status of United States internationally. If you look at it. So therefore, without getting into tutu meme, we have been able to get our way so far.
Absolutely.
And hopefully, finally, he may relent, as you very well pointed out, and as Professor Nalapat also said.
Yes.
There are certain red lines we can't cross. We can't give non-vegetarian fodder to our dairy industry. It's not possible. We are the world's largest vegetarian population.
Yes.
We can't. What we cannot do, we cannot do. He has to understand that. You know, we're not a colonized nation.
Yes.
So we'll not. So I think it's a brilliant idea.
Yes, Professor Narapat, also, you know, it will come as a setback for the US. I mean, this is the same EU that you know, Donald Trump was urging to actually you know, slap additional tariffs on India because of the Russian oil payments as well. He wanted you know, the tariffs on India by the EU to go to 100 to 200%, and he said we would follow suit. He wanted that for India and he wanted that for China. That's something that the EU did not do. What the EU actually is doing is they fast-tracked, obviously, negotiations and discussions on this trade agreement, which could come into effect on the 27th of January this year itself. Now, what does this really send out then as a message to the United States of America?
Look, the fact of the matter is that Indian technology, Indian talent have played a very big role in the development of the United States. And today, Trump is trying to eliminate Indian talent. He is making it difficult to get necessary visas. The EU knows the importance of India, knows the importance of ensuring that in the high-tech fields, India is there. And I can tell you, India will not be there just as a buyer. India will also be a supplier, and the EU will benefit like the US has benefited, because the reality of the situation is India is also maturing, and India is also maturing in science and technology, and even in tech, co-producing with India, you will create much better tech, and I think you'll be in a position to challenge China, which frankly is now challenging the United States. So I think overall, Uday, India has got a lot to contribute. The EU has got a lot to contribute. And I mean, as I said, the symbolism of this is something that cannot be understated or underestimated. I mean, the country which is soon going to be the world's third largest economy is now signing a foreign trade, a free trade agreement, a foreign trade agreement also, which is really very helpful to both sides. And I'm quite certain that as a consequence of this, our economy will grow, the EU economies will grow, and there's a lot of ways in which India can help the EU, and as India has helped the United States, and I think the EU understands that. For example, countries like Germany are welcoming Indian minds, including Indians. So I feel more European countries will do the same, and I think that's a very welcome development, Uday.
Yes. Now, if you talk about the industries, Dr. Sharad Kohli, that stand to benefit directly from this agreement, would they be textiles, jewelry, leather? Which industries and sectors do you believe stand to benefit directly from this India-EU agreement?
Well, I feel all the three that you named, leather and footwear, textiles, gems and jewelry, pharmaceuticals, engineering goods, a lot of electronics that India is manufacturing, whether it's mobile phones or other equipment, agri products may be very selective, marine products, the blue economy as we call it. Another very important sector, a point which we missed out because I wasn't allowed to finish earlier, was it is going to help the immigration workers, people, talent from India to go and work there, and education. Well, we should not forget that US has also tried to hit our immigration by those silly H-1B modifications. Little does he know that his own industry is against him because they're not going to find talent now. Unfortunately, US does not have that talent which can substitute H-1B immigrants from India. And the education, the universities which are now trying to put restrictions on the Indian students, they're going to find now newer universities and education institutions to go and study there. So there's going to be multiple sectors, but for any FTA deal of this size to fructify and to convert and get down to the ground, it does take some time because I think we need to work out the mathematics. What is the cost? How much is the benefit coming? Then there's a quality check done, and there are some formalities, and of course ratification from the EU Parliament is definitely needed. So European Union, as Ambassador Mukherjee rightly said, it is a single unit, but within themselves they've got their own respective parliaments as well, and there could be one of the nations might say that we just need to think over what product we need and whether our economy is being affected and so on and so forth. Although I'm sure they are unified, even if they were not unified until now, they should thank President Trump that they are all. I feel EU is much more bound now. It is very strongly united. It may have some fissures earlier. I think as I said, the good thing President Trump has done is to remove those fissures, and the world is huddling together. And I think we are nearing a time when President Trump is going to find himself as a very lonely person out there across Atlantic. And I'm not sure what is he going to do then, because when he finds that all the friends have become foes in a very short period of time, how is he going to deal with the world? Because then bullying is not going to work. He will find the whole world has come together. His board of peace, the BP as they call it, is going to raise his blood pressure instead of board of peace. So that BP is going to convert to blood pressure for Donald Trump over a period of time. And he wants to obviate United Nations. Obviously, the United Nations doesn't carry too much of importance anyway. But whatever is left out of United Nations, he wants to decimate it by creating a parallel organization, Uday.
Okay. Also this invitation, to the top EU officials by India Ambassador Mukherjee. What do you believe was the strategy behind making, Antonio Costa and Ursula von der Leyen the chief guests for this 2026 Republic Day parade that we're going to be seeing on Monday?
I was Joint Secretary Europe West in June 2000 when we held the first India-EU summit under Prime Minister Vajpayee in Portugal, under the Portuguese presidency. And the Prime Minister of Portugal at that time was the former Secretary General of NATO later on. At that time, it was agreed that there would be annual summits. And then somehow, over a period of time, particularly in the last decade, they slipped. And instead of annual summits, they started becoming, after a couple of years, after 2-3 years, also reflecting the ambivalence on the part of EU towards India, and the ambivalence of India towards EU, because we thought United States was much more important for us. That is the real reason why it slipped. Now, as Dr. Sharad Kohli says, thanks to President Trump, both sides have realized that was a huge strategic error. And in order to make up for it, annual summits are going to be held. There is going to be an annual summit after our Republic Day. But more important, honoring the president, it finally demonstrates that India as a nation, I sincerely hope so, has finally understood what the EU means. What is it? People keep asking me. And the EU ambassador, the last EU ambassador, told me that when he went to a reception and somebody asked him, "You are an ambassador, what do you do? Can you give me a visa?" He said, "No, I can't give you a visa. Consular powers are with member states." He said, "Then I'm not interested in you." And he moved on. This shows the total ignorance on the part of most Indians as to the importance of the EU for India. I think that even more than the trade deal, if it helps Indians, especially through such discussions as on your channel, Uday, to understand that the European Union is a most powerful entity consisting earlier of 2 nuclear weapon states, now of 1 nuclear weapon state, but with a huge amount of force in trade, soft power, and they're going to catch up on hard power. They're determined on that now.
Okay.
And this is going to make a super alternative partner for India in case Trump keeps on rampaging and raging. And but there was some hope, because 2 days ago, Uday, he said, "Prime Minister Modi is my very good friend and I'm looking forward to a very good trade deal." I
Yes.
wrote it down carefully with the time and the date. So far, he hasn't contradicted that statement. That's 48 hours. That's quite a record, Uday. So let's
Okay.
hope that after this one,
Okay.
we'll be to the American one. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, we will be discussing that, the way forward for the India-US ties on a separate discussion today itself on Newsx. So we will be picking that up today. But for the time being, we've run out of time. My thanks to all of our guests for joining us on this very astute and enriching discussion on something that we're going to be keeping an eye out for this coming week, of course, between India and the European Union. Let's slip into a break.
This week on We Women Want, we are going to be discussing at what age should kids be allowed smartphones, the enticements of the digital world, and what are the lines that one can draw. So Shivani, if you can your first reaction on this.
As the director of the study school working with 1.5 to 5 year olds, I'd say keep these phones away from the babies. There is a requirement for the phones and digital life, but at the right time.
As a mother of 2 kids, Sitiva?
Priya, the scariest words a parent can hear is Mama, but everybody has one.
Pallavi, you're a millennial and you have a young kid. So how do you monitor the phone time?
I think there's no escape to the digital world, but it's only when we choose to give it to the kids constructively and consciously.
Watch We Women Want at these times on Newsx.
This week on We Women Want, we are going to be discussing at what age should kids be allowed smartphones, the enticements of the digital world, and what are the lines that one can draw. So Shivani, if you can your first reaction on this.
As the director of the study school working with 1.5 to 5 year olds, I'd say keep these phones away from the babies. There is a requirement for the phones and digital life, but at the right time.
As a mother of 2 kids, Sitiva?
Priya, the scariest words a parent can hear is Mama, but everybody has one.
Pallavi, you're a millennial and you have a young kid. So how do you monitor the phone time?
I think there's no escape to the digital world, but it's only when we choose to give it to the kids constructively and consciously.
Watch We Women Want at these times on Newsx.
लाल रंग इसका अपार, तीखा कम है फिर भी स्वाद, बेमिसाल बेमिसाल MDH कश्मीरी,
MDH कश्मीरी।
MDH का किचन किंग किचन में हो तो हम सब कुछ बना सकते हैं। बैंगन का भरता, आलू गोभी, भिंडी मसाला और भी बहुत कुछ।
MDH
अब आया असली स्वाद।
अब आया स्वाद।
जब स्वाद के पड़े हो लाले तो MDH का चंकी चाट मसाला डालें। MDH का चंकी चाट मसाला।
MDH।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर। MDH गरम मसाला, असली मसालों से भरा हूँ मैं,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
This week on We Women Want, we are going to be discussing at what age should kids be allowed smartphones, the enticements of the digital world, and what are the lines that one can draw. So Shivani, if you can your first reaction on this.
As the director of the study school working with 1.5 to 5-year-olds, I'd say keep these phones away from the babies. There is a requirement for the phones and digital life, but at the right time.
As a mother of 2 kids, Sitiva?
Priya, the scariest words a parent can hear is Mama, but everybody has one.
Pallavi, you're a millennial and you have a young kid. So how do you monitor the phone time?
I think there's no escape to the digital world, but it's only when we choose to give it to the kids constructively and consciously.
Watch We Women Want at these times on Newsx.
This week on We Women Want, we're going to be discussing at what age should kids be allowed smartphones, the enticements of the digital world, and what are the lines that one can draw. So Shivani, if you can your first reaction on this.
As the director of the study school working with 1.5 to 5-year-olds, I'd say keep these phones away from the babies. There is a requirement for the phones and digital life, but at the right time.
As a mother of 2 kids, Sitiva?
Priya, the scariest words a parent can hear is Mama, but everybody has one.
Pallavi, you're a millennial and you have a young kid. So how do you monitor the phone time?
I think there's no escape to the digital world, but it's only when we choose to give it to the kids constructively and consciously.
Watch We Women Want at these times on Newsx.
Hello and welcome. You're watching this special Budget 2026 on Newsx segment called My Budget Wish List. Joining us today is Ashneer Grover, co-founder and former managing director of Bharat Pay. Ashneer Grover, thank you for being with us today on Newsx as we build up to the budget of 2026 that will be presented by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman on the 1st of February. What are your top wish list items from the Indian budget of this year?
Yeah, so from the budget, I think my wish list, the top item always is on taxation. I think the single most influential thing that the government can do by just moving pen is on taxation. I think the taxation in India is completely not working, right? The fact is people do not get the amenities they expect against the taxation, and therefore it's a virtuous cycle where people don't want to pay tax, and when they eventually pay tax, they don't get anything in return, right? So the next year.
Yes. Ashneer, also, I think we've lost you. Okay, Ashneer, I think you're back with us now. Ashneer, do you believe also India has handled the tariff situation well? What do MSMEs urgently need that possibly been affected adversely?
Yeah, I don't have any views on the tariff system as such, but I think what I would like to really address here, and which is the elephant in the room, no one wants to talk about it, is the economy is slowing down, right? Of course, tariffs have played a part in it. The rupee depreciating to 92 rupees, it has also happened significantly after the tariffs. So that has played a part in it. So clearly your exports are slowing down. your imports continue unabated, and therefore your balance of payments is such that your rupee will keep declining. But I think the bigger thing is that the government has to acknowledge that the economy is slowing down, right? I don't know where they're getting the 8% number from, but on the ground it doesn't seem to be the case really. And let me just come from a very selective, even from a startup perspective. We seem to be celebrating startup day and everything, but let me tell you, not a lot of people will speak openly. Startups have slowed down. There is very less FDI, very less investments happening. Yes, the IPO season was bumper last year, but none of the people who made money, foreign investors who made money through the IPO or exited through the IPO, are committing any money back into the Indian startups. So even the startup ecosystem, which we are celebrating left, right, and center, that itself is slowing down. So you have to acknowledge the fact that on the ground, things are coming to a sort of a, I won't say a grinding halt, but yeah, they are coming to a halt for sure. And therefore, the government has to do more, put in more incentive for people to do economic activity and get the economy going. At the current pace, how the things are going, I think we're in for a shocking 2020.
Now, the Prime Minister himself has, though, stressed on ease of doing business. We've eased the regulatory framework, but still a long road ahead is there for further easing and, of course, helping businesses succeed. What do you believe needs to happen next in this Department of Ease of Doing Business?
No, yeah, it is not a long road. The fact is, see, unfortunately, in India, there is more schemes and marketing than there is real change on the ground. Yeah? Matlab, you talk to any businessman, how he has to deal with the GST folks, how he has to deal with the income tax folks, how does he have to get licenses, and you would know there's no ease of doing business. I'll tell you what ease of doing business is. In China, if you want to put up a textile plant, right, you don't have to buy land, you don't have to construct anything. The government has already constructed a textile park. There is a boiler point, there's an electrical point. You can choose how much area you want. You just sign a lease and your licenses come with the lease. That is ease of doing business, right? You've got all the infrastructure. More importantly, when you want to borrow for buying machinery, depending on what technology you're using, you get a lower interest rate. So if you want to put in 2026 technology, you might get a loan at a 1 or 2% interest rate. If you want to put a 2016 technology, you might get it at 12% interest rate,
yes,
and so on, right? So I think China is the one who has really cracked ease of doing business. I think, like most things we create a lot more noise than there is substance to it. And if there was really ease of doing business, India would be growing at 20%, not at the 8%, which a lot of people still do not believe in.
Okay, so you believe a lot more needs to be done in that department. Let's talk about R&D now. Budget 2025 had allocated 20,000 crore rupees for research and development. What do you believe the government needs to do more in this space of R&D?
So I see, why do you have to allocate? So the whole point is the government has made a business on saying we know what's best, so we are going to tax you a lot, and then if you want that money back for R&D, yeah, you apply to us and beg to us to take that money. I just don't understand it. You leave enough money with the corporates, and to improve their products and services and capture a bigger market share, they're going to allocate the money responsibly, whether it's in R&D or elsewhere, right? So I think this whole concept of the government knows best and government has granted, it just doesn't work. Just don't tax. If you have lower tax rates, if I have a corporate tax rate which is much lower than this, I would have enough money left with me to do whatever I want to do, right? So I'm not a big believer in the way the government is introducing itself into everything and saying, we are going to tell you what to do and you have to apply to us for grants and everything.
Okay, so you believe a lot more needs to be done in that department. Let's talk about R&D now. Budget 2025 had allocated 20,000 crore rupees for research and development. What do you believe the government needs to do more in this space of R&D? Yes, and finally, on gig workers now, a lot of debate recently has, of course, happened over gig workers and their remuneration and other incentives. Do you believe that they could expect something specific in the budget this year?
No, what role does the government have to play in gig workers? See, it's the whole, this is the whole debate is solving a problem which is not a problem in the first place. The fact is, the Indian startup ecosystem has helped create employment for lakhs of people, which you are calling gig workers, right? And it's an open market, right? If these people do not like what is being offered, what is the alternative? Is the government going to give them a job? So if the government is not going to give them a job, why is the government getting into what the gig workers should be getting or not? It's pure market out there, right? The fact is you have 140 crore people, majority of them unemployed. Therefore the advantage you have is cheap labor, right? And even if you want try to screw that up by bringing minimum wages and all that, and sort of putting spanner into works with something which is already working and no one is practically complaining about. So you're solving a problem which does not exist. So my suggestion would be to the government, very frankly, would be you have no business being in business. Please do not burden individuals and corporates with more taxation. We are done. We are like squeezed as मतलब वो गन्ना बहुत बारी मशीन से निकल चुका है, अब कोई जूस नहीं बचा लोगों में कोई टैक्स देने का. Understand that you have to leave money on the table for the economy to revive. If the government understands that and does something concrete on the ground, things will change. Otherwise, we have heard about hundreds and thousands of schemes worth lakhs of crores, nothing comes out of it.
All right, appreciate you joining us, Ashri Grover, with your budget wish list for 2026. All right, let's go across now to my colleague Vineet Malhotra. He's spoken with Kamal Bali, the president and managing director at Volvo Group, for his budget wish list for 2026.
Hello and welcome. You're watching this special budget 2026 on Newsx, a segment called My Budget Wish List. And joining us today is Mr. Kamal Bali, President and Managing Director of Volvo Group India. Mr. Bali, appreciate you joining us. Of course, a lot of questions for you. Let me start off by, what are your top 10 budget wish lists?
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity. Let me start with the term why and then come to the 10 us or wish list on the budget 2026. If you notice that the Indian economy has demonstrated great resilience across several macro parameters, including inflation, and continues to be the fastest growing economy and clocking almost 8 percentage points growth in the first half of this fiscal. This is in spite of the challenges in economic globalization and tariff-driven geopolitics. Of course, there are headwinds in terms of pressure on an exchange rate and foreign trade. However, all in all, the Indian economy is largely in good shape, with the IMF substantially raising the growth estimates for this current financial year to 7.4 percentage points from 6.5 earlier. Clearly, the Indian economy is poised to grow at more than twice the rate at which the global economy is projected to grow. With the mission Viksit Bharat 2047 as our North Star, the Union Budget 26-27 or any Indian strategic direction cannot be anything but pro-growth, pro-development, with sustained public and private investments in manufacturing, infrastructure, energy transition, education, human skills, and digital capabilities over the next 2 decades. This is important to ensure that the Indian economy continues to have high quality, sustained, equitable and inclusive expansion over the next couple of decades. Now let me list the 10 asks or wish list with regards to the budget 2026. I think the first and foremost, in my view, and I have been saying this for many years, is manufacturing. Manufacturing continues to be at 13-14% of our GDP, and this needs to go up to 25% of our GDP over time. For this, next generation factor reforms like land, labor, access to capital and energy are keys to manufacturing competitiveness and attractiveness. And this needs to be done very quickly. My second point is that if you really want to have truly the power of one single 1.4 billion people market, we need deep collaboration between center and states. So here, things like GST, like council, needs to be formed to implement some of the factor reforms, and I think this is what the government should seriously consider. Number 3, manufacturing companies waste a lot of time in finding land, putting together a building. I think plug and play industrial infrastructure parks across industrial corridors, if it can be brought in, this will reduce the logistics and transactional costs as well as the non-value added burden on manufacturing companies. So that's the third ask, I would say. The fourth ask is strengthen the domestic supply chain in electronics, in chemicals, in capital goods and advanced materials. 5 is the PLI scheme. I am very fond of that scheme. The scheme was a huge success. The scheme brought in 2020. I believe that I personally feel that we should, to light up the animal spirits in the manufacturing sector, we should bring another special PLI scheme for existing sectors in manufacturing as well, where the incentives can be given on the incremental growth of business over the next 3 years. This will really boost the animal spirits in the manufacturing sector and encourage better capacity utilization. Number 6, provide interest-free capital to up to 50% of the promoter's equity to MSMEs. MSMEs need these funds, and in the changing global ecosystem, you need a lot of technology support, and I think this would be good. Number 7, I think to provide the needed confidence in policy predictability, there are a long pending backlog of cases. They should be disposed of very quickly. They should be fast-tracked through a proper mediation process as a one-time confidence building measure, because the cases are huge in numbers and they need to move with the government trying to really making ease of doing business a reality. This is very important. Number 8, advance ruling is a good mechanism which the government introduced, but it should be implemented in letter and spirit to avoid or at least minimize future disputes. Number 9, sustaining and maintaining robust public capex. Capex is the key to India growth story. India needs a lot of capex, at least to my mind, 3.5% to 4% or maybe up to 5% of GDP. We've been spending about 3% of late, which is good. But I think we need to continue to revive the private investment, and also even while doing the fiscal consolidation process, we should continue to spend on capex, and this can be supported by accelerating privatization and asset monetization. And number 10, I want to make, CII has made a very good suggestion. I want to pick that suggestion is the long-term, to create a long-term development capital. And that's very important. Like we can call it India Development and Strategic Fund. Such a fund could scale to more than $1 trillion by 2047 and become a cornerstone for India's long-term growth and strategic capability. So what we propose is that there can be 2 parts to this fund. One could be the development arm of the fund. One could be the strategic arm. The development arm would invest on things like manufacturing, MSMEs, infrastructure, what we talked about, energy transition and human capital. And the strategic arm can actually secure critical minerals, advanced technologies, and global supply chains. So finally, in my view, it's most crucial to boost our innovation and R&D initiatives by operationalizing the $11 billion Research and Development Fund, Innovation Fund, which the Honorable FM had proposed in the last budget. I think we should operationalize it very, very importantly. And we need ultimately the final focus on skills, reskilling our talent, education and human capital, which is the real asset of India and which is what we should really flaunt in a good way. I believe India is well set for an inclusive and growth-oriented future, and we must seize this window of opportunity by working collaboratively between industry, regulators, academia, civil society, and the entire government ecosystem. And I think Budget 2026 can play a huge role there.
And if we talk about going non-fossil fuel soon, we need big ticket incentives. What do you think the government must do?
No, I think the policies are. I think the policy direction is already in place. There are policies where we are encouraging battery. If I look at the automotive industry in general, starting with two-wheelers to three-wheelers to cars to commercial vehicles, so there is a policy framework in some of the areas where there is support for battery electric vehicles, and therefore the two-wheeler and the segment is growing at 19-20%. Electric vehicles are growing in those areas at 18 to 19%. So that's a good story. But I think 4 pathways are essential when you go fossil-free overall. And I think first is the battery electric, where two-wheelers, cars, and three-wheelers will mainly be there. When it comes to heavy commercial vehicles, there will be, I think, couple of other pathways. There will be ICE engines with hydrogen as a fuel, which will be a clean fuel, which can be a clean fuel. There can be hydrogen fuel cells. There can be LNG on the IC engine. So there will be 3-4 pathways, and not only electric, battery electric. When it comes to commercial vehicles, heavy duty. So I think that's going to be the way, and government should support. And instead of giving incentives on the demand side, I think they should invest on the supply side. Supply side, like on infrastructure, on battery charging infrastructure, on getting the fuel suppliers, the clean fuel suppliers into the grid in a good way. So government can play a long-term role in setting the infrastructure, which is very critical for adaptation of the clean fuel automotive industry.
Right. And how do you think the Union Budget 2026 can accelerate the adoption of electric vehicles in our country?
So I always believe that creating the I think the challenge we have seen the world over is the infrastructure not getting ready, because there are many actors who are playing this, who are going to be part of it. Who are the actors? The vehicle manufacturers, the fuel suppliers, the recharging infrastructure, the regulatory environment, the land requirement for providing some of these things. So all of these actors have to play the role, and government should set incentives and support for setting up this infrastructure for recharging or refilling either non-fossil fuels or electric energy, which can be done. So government support there will make a huge difference. That is what our experience tells, our global experience tells us.
It's a last question. What do we need to do further encourage domestic manufacturing of critical components in the automobile sector, according to you?
Yeah, as I said a little before, I think this special India Development and Strategic Fund should be able to cater to some of the needs of special materials, and we need to secure these. You're absolutely right. We see that if we want to get supply chain resilience and India really looking at Viksit Bharat as a resilient economy, I think we need to secure some of these critical items, critical minerals, and we need to therefore really look at free trade agreements like we are looking at with the European Union and many other geographies, friendly countries. We must secure for the next 15 to 20 years some critical minerals, critical things for which but India itself has many of these. I think one is that we need to start mining and identifying and investing money on that mining. Second, from outside of India, from the friendly countries, we should look at partnerships and collaborations, and through free trade agreements like we are likely to sign with the European Union, we've done with Australia, we've done with UK. We should look at some of these geographies.
Mr. Bali, appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much for your time and your perspective on this important budget. With that, we take a short break. We'll be right back.
कार इंश्योरेंस डन।
पॉलिसी बाजार से कराया?
नहीं।
तो तू जिब्रा नहीं हो सकता।
मतलब?
अगर पॉलिसी बाजार से कार इंश्योरेंस कंपेयर करके लेता तो 12,000 रुपए तक बचा सकता था। इसलिए तू जिब्रा तो नहीं है, तू है
गधा।
काइंड ऑफ।
MDH कसूरी मेथी लाजवाब है स्वाद और सुगंध इसकी लाजवाब है।
अगर MDH कसूरी मेथी नहीं डाला
तो खाली हाथ मलते रह जाओगे।
एक एक पत्ता हाथ से चुना, स्वाद और सुगंध जगाए कई गुना।
आपके घर के खाने में रेस्टोरेंट जैसा स्वाद ले आए MDH का शाही पनीर मसाला। पनीर को क्या मस्त बना डाला।
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च।
इसको तो फुटबॉल खेलना भी आ गया और इसे तो पियानो बजाने भी आ गया।
चंद्रयान भी उतर गया चांद पर हमें
अब तक टेस्टी राजमा बनाना नहीं आया।
बिना MDH राजमा मसाला के टेस्टी राजमा कैसे बनेगा?
स्वादिष्ट राजमा के लिए MDH राजमा मसाला।
क्या स्वादिष्ट राजमा बनाए?
MDH।
Hello and welcome to We Women Want. This is our weekly show where we discuss issues related to women, and of course the men also tune in to watch. We discuss issues ranging from fads to diets to lifestyles to the work-life balance to health issues. I mean, everything is on the table. But today we're taking a look at what is happening with our young generation. We're talking at what age should children be allowed smartphones. I think this is the Gen Alpha really that we're talking about. And are smartphones and is the digital world all that bad also? Is it more maligned? What is the kind of generation that is coming up and how do we communicate with them? That's also really important in today's age. Joining me on the show is Shivani Wazir Pashreet. She is a director at the Study School. Of course, we know her in many other avatars. She's a former Miss India. She's a dancer. She's an MC, content creator. Shivani, list will go long, so abhi time nahi hai itna. So you'll be happy with this. Itiva Chopra, she's a former chairperson at YFLO. And of course, she's also a lawyer. And more importantly, she's the mother of 2 adorable boys, which is why I think she's here today in that capacity. Pallavi Pratap Malik, she's a co-founder of Brand Concierge. It's a Delhi-based digital marketing agency. In fact, Pallavi is really one of the Gen Z who's now bringing up a Gen Alpha. She's also
I'm a millennial.
You're a millennial?
Yeah.
And you already have been in the production line?
Yeah.
Yes. How many?
Young boy?
I have 1 6-year-old.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Well done.
So we have ground reporting here from the ground really to dealing with. But Shivani, how, first of all, the question of the day, at what age should kids be allowed smartphones? Should preteens be allowed? Let's take that as a cutoff.
So, you know, in Australia, they've just taken out a law that till the age of 16, children should not be allowed on social media. And this is being hailed as the futuristic way for the goodness of children's well-being. I personally gave my children smartphones. My older one got a smartphone when she was 13.
How old are they now?
27 and 23.
No way, Shivani.
So I remember she got it because she told me, she said, Mom, our homework comes on WhatsApp. So I think that was quite innovative of her. I'm not quite sure how much of that was true, but I figured that I would be the naive parent and would comply, because honestly, there was a lot of peer pressure. And she really was the only one who was not on the bandwagon with her own smartphone. So I allowed her to maneuver me and say school homework comes on WhatsApp, and we gave her first phone. The second one went on a trip to Germany, a student exchange program, and I thought for her safety she needed a phone, so that's when I succumbed.
And how old were the kids?
So she was in grade 6. Grade 6? 12. So the younger one, like all younger ones, breached the barriers at a younger age.
Yeah, that's true. They get the advantage of being the second mover. It's actually advantage. First mover mein sari experiments hoti hain.
That's true. That's true.
All the battles have to be fought by the first one.
Luckily, I'm a second one. You?
I'm a first one.
Yeah, you also.
I'm also a first, so I feel my sister probably got everything way easier than I did.
That's true. They fought. But Itya, so given that, and I also, you have two boys, and they both have went through schooling during the COVID times also. So did you notice a difference, with the younger one and the older one in terms of how, because that is really studying in the digital 24 hours.
Started. But Priya, I wanted to say one thing. I was the best parent before I became a parent. So I had all my theories absolutely right. I had everything in place. Till I had kids, all the rules went out of the window. So Shivani, you gave in at 13 and
12, yeah.
I gave in at 12 and 10.
Not bad.
I gave in at 11 and 9.
Not bad, considering by then the world had changed.
So, yeah, so I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But you would, so sorry, coming back to your question, COVID brought about digital age in your face, in your bedrooms, on your study tables. It was something that became a right for the child. They suddenly owned their own laptops or iPads, and it became something that the parent has to provide for them.
Correct. No, but in terms of digital is fine, but in terms of the social interaction in a classroom versus sitting at home with your laptop, did you notice a difference?
Yeah, so in fact, we were talking before the show. So for my younger one especially, he was at that grade 1, grade 2 sort of stage when COVID hit. I find a lot of the problems which were caused by that COVID time have actually got fixed now. So now finally he's forming those gangs, those boy gangs which they have in schools. I find that happening now. His social life is sort of picking up now. His writing has improved